Tea time. Did you hear about the pastor's wife who allegedly committed suicide 48 hours after filing a restraining order from her husband, John Paul Miller? This is Mica Miller, and just last week she was found dead from an apparent gunshot wound to the head in a national park in North Carolina. The very next day, her husband, John Paul Miller, preached a full sermon in front of his church, Solid Rock, in South Carolina. And at the end of his sermon, he announced that his wife had passed away and that her death was self-induced, even though officials never ruled it a suicide. Mica's sister, Sierra Francis, is pleading with the public not to believe claims that this was a suicide. She believes that Mica's death was the result of abuse from her husband and the church she was a part of. And friends of Mica are backing up her claims. Ashley Bryan Clark, a friend of Mica's, posted to Facebook describing that she had just been chatting with Mica the day before her alleged suicide and that she seemed perfectly okay. She also recounted how she had to leave the Solid Rock Church because of the abuse that she endured there. She also shared a story that Mica had been the target of several attacks, including having her tires cut multiple times, having trackers put on her car, and being afraid of her husband. She also said that Mica's husband had her involuntarily hospitalized multiple times, claiming she was mentally ill. Footage found of one of J.P. Miller's sermons describes what he found as he searched her phone.
When my wife went in the hospital, I looked at her phone and I counted over the past 2 years, 18 people who had texted her and said, if you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything and I'll keep it confidential. Why the heck does somebody want to hear what somebody else says about their spouse?
Why would so many people be offering Mica help with her relationship? Something's not adding up in this story. Researchers found that the couple had actually been separated for quite some time because Mica had gone out and got her own apartment. Mica filed for divorce, but her divorce was dismissed in February of this year. After the announcement of Mica's death, her husband, John Paul Miller, was seen out enjoying a lovely meal with a strange woman by the name of Susan, who many claim is his mistress. After word got around that Susan was John Paul Miller's mistress, Susan actually created a public Facebook post claiming that she was not John Paul's mistress, she is simply a friend, and she backed up his claims that Mica was severely mentally ill, saying that she had schizophrenia, that she was bipolar, and that she had several personality disorders, and that she was known to speak to demons. Researchers also found that Susie and J.P. Miller had more than just their love of God in common. In fact, Susie's ex-husband, Chris, was paralyzed and he died as a result of a freak accident by falling into a pool when there was no one around to rescue him. As the investigation continues, J.P. Miller actually had a memorial service for Mica at his church, the Solid Rock. But protesters showed up to call attention to domestic violence awareness in front of the church during the memorial service. In direct opposition to J.P. Miller's memorial service, Mica's sister organized a memorial service of her own, and she encouraged people to attend that memorial service instead. In tribute to Mica's life and what others claim was her attempt to break free from an abusive relationship, here is Mica herself singing a song that meant the world to her.
I pray for your healing. The circumstances would change. I pray that the fear inside would flee in Jesus' name. I pray that a breakthrough would happen today. I pray miracles over your life in Jesus' name, in Jesus' name.
Rest in peace, Mica. I'm Te-Erika with the T. Follow for more.